Hi, I'm Rostam, and my perfect 10 is Van Morrison's Astral Weeks. The first song that I ever heard from this album was Sweet Thing. It was in a production of Romeo and Juliet that I did in college with Ezra from Vampire Weekend. He was also in the play. It was before we had started the band. I think it was our sophomore year of college. There was a section in the play where a bunch of us in the cast, we danced to Sweet Thing. It took me a few years to sort of like get more into other songs from the album, but eventually I started to listen to the whole album as an album, and it really started to get under my skin in a bunch of ways. Van Morrison, I think, was coming from rock, and this album, what's interesting about it is it sort of like imagines rock music doesn't exist. There's folk music, there's a lot of acoustic guitar, there's nylon string guitar, there's blues, there's classical music, there's jazz, but there's no song with a steady backbeat on drums. It's almost like creating a Venn diagram of all these genres and then taking out anything that might be rock music. So the bass playing on the record is this guy, Richard Davis, who had a background in jazz. He played with Eric Dolphy, and it's all upright bass. It's not electric bass, which is like one of the defining characteristics of rock. So you get this feeling kind of like there's this combination of familiarity and also just something unique. I think if you've never heard the album before, the first time you play it, you might kind of think it's just okay. It might take you a decade to really understand this album, for it to get under your skin. And that's what happened to me. So Van Morrison, Astral Weeks, a very special record for me. On my new record, American Stories, I was influenced a little bit by Astral Weeks. What's special about that record that may be almost impossible to capture is the way that it feels casual. I think the mood that it creates is very connected to how it sounds improvised. It sounds off the cuff. It sounds relaxed. And I think that is something I was trying to do on my new record. And I was also interested in making an acoustic guitar record, a record where acoustic guitars kind of drive a lot of the songs. I think it's a hard thing to do in a unique way. It's been done many times, but I think Astral Weeks is a great example of an acoustic guitar record that doesn't really sound like other acoustic guitar records.